Hello, everyone. Today is the 14th of May 2026. And I decided to record this video today to provide everyone with an update and a correct read of the developments over the past few hours with regard to the meeting that happened in Beijing between the US and the Chinese delegation, respectively led by President Trump and Chairman Xi Jinping. So, what was the outcome of the meeting? Well, as expected, the outcome was a nothing burger in the broad sense of the definition. Yes, for sure, in the 2 hours that they were into the room, many things were discussed between the two delegations, but officially, nothing got out of the room that the market was waiting for, especially nothing with regard to Iran. And hilariously, a few hours after that meeting ended, there was a warning from the UK Maritime Authority reporting that United Emirates tanker that was into the UAE waters was being hijacked by the Iranian, and now that very same tanker, from being off the coast of Fujairah, is being taken on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz to the coast of Iran. And honestly, this, besides the joke that it makes you think whether the Iranians are going to take um, any UAE tanker for any of their damaged tanker by the US naval blockade, the real truth is that effectively, after a brief pause, so to speak, now the issue of the Middle East is back under the spotlight. And frankly speaking, markets are running out of excuses to keep ignoring that. So, what's going to happen now? To be fair, this week, today, there is a bigger option expiration into the oil futures market. So I don't frankly expect much action there. Although I shall highlight that starting from tomorrow, there is a lot of gamma that becomes unlocked in the market. And looking at the option positioning right now for the following months, it looks like the market starts to acknowledge that maybe it's not the case to be that bearish on oil prices anymore. And the other important element to take in consideration for this week is that we have a very big option expiration this Friday. So again, is this going to be the trigger for volatility next week or not? Well, on one side, the vast majority of the people is still so deadly convinced that nothing is going to happen. However, from a pure market perspective, when you have all these important expirations next to each other, you should rather be prepared to experience volatility, especially when we have seen such an amount of euphoria over the past weeks. Euphoria that, to be fair, was completely misplaced whatsoever. I mean, just to give you an example, today, Cerebras, a company that is supposed to be manufacturing AI semiconductors and only has 3 clients that placed orders, one of which is OpenAI, that I'm not even sure they have the money to really pay for those orders, is going to start trading today at over $55 billion valuation after their IPO was greatly oversubscribed. They will be raising $5.5 billion. And the remarkable thing is that at start, this company is going to be trading at 100 times sales. Not twice, not 10 times, not 20, not 50, 100 times their sales, and massive operating loss. I mean, this is the latest sign of out of control euphoria in the market. While on another front, the International Energy Authority continues to warn everyone so loudly how the situation of the commercial and strategic reserves of crude oil, diesel, gasoline, naphtha, and other derivatives is becoming really, really dangerous. The level of reserves are starting to be low. And even if the US so far buffered with its reserves the whole world, more than doubling its amount of exports, we are coming very close to a point where the exports from the United States will start decreasing, not because there is no demand, the complete opposite, but because even on that side of the world, they will start running out of extra available product to export. And here is the big misunderstanding that I still see a lot of people trying, to mislead the markets, investors, and audience about that. A lot of countries, starting from China, have been importing less oil, not because of demand destruction whatsoever. It's because there is less oil all around. And now the fact that not only there has been not demand destruction, but that the tension in the physical market is becoming greater and greater despite the historical level of SPR drains continue, is given by the fact that no matter all the attempt to crush the prices into the oil futures market, in reality, for the past several days now, you can observe how, at the end of the day, it keeps grinding higher and higher. But not only on the front end of the curve. What is more remarkable is that December 2026 and July 2027 future contracts have now reached a high. That was not the case so far. What does it mean? This means that while the curve so far has been in incredibly steep backwardation, because even if there was a lot of reserves at the beginning, people flooded the spot market, tried to put their hands as much as possible, creating a squeeze before the United States can reassure the whole world and say, no worries, this is going to be so soon and we're going to sell you whatever you need in the meantime. Now, we're going to sell you the whatever you need in the meantime is not there anymore because everyone is observing how the level of reserves is decreasing very fast and is expected to accelerate this level of decrease in the following weeks. While on the other side, it's obvious that the problems in the Strait of Hormuz are not going to be solved anytime soon. So as a result, what you're seeing is the oil curve starting to flatten out. And beware that if this curve, by mistake, resume trading in contango in the current situation, the effects on inflation, on the markets, on risk assets, on corporate businesses are going to be brutal. And at that time, the effort required to flatten the curve by country is going to be immense because basically everyone will need to gather around a table and decide, okay, who is going to cut the demand? Who is going to enforce people not to drive to work, not to purchase this type of goods, not to go on holiday, whatever? How are we going to do it? Because in 2020 it was frankly easy, there was a pandemic, so worldwide lockdown. But today, that's a big problem because, of course, in the moment you accept to force demand to go down, then you are going to hit the economy very hard. At the very moment when central banks continue to print a lot of liquidity into the system. And the data from the US this week, both on CPI and PPI, proved that this is not a blip in inflation whatsoever. This is actually starting to look like what I have been warned before. If you look at the chart from the 1970s, when at some point everyone was cheering that inflation was put under control. Then you had the second and nastier jump of inflation that actually coincided with the oil supply crisis exactly at that time. So I know that history doesn't repeat it identically, clearly as we can observe, but it often rhymes. And in this time is rhyming very loudly. And I will not stop telling people to position in advance, to be careful, to stay in this market, to check the data and make objective decision upon that. Try to filter out the very misleading narrative as much as possible, because yes, sure, narrative nowadays is driving market in the short term, is driving euphoria, fear of missing out, whatever. But ultimately, as it has been proven over and over again through many cycles, those paper gains sooner or later will poof, disappear in the blink of an eye. And you definitely don't want to be in that spot. You don't want to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. You actually want to be in the best possible place. And the best possible place will be to take advantage of fire sales in the market when people at some point will be forced to panic, because this is coming no matter what. Either is the State of Hormuz stays in the current situation, or if the US decides to escalate again. There are no other options left on the table. And whoever says the contrary is simply a person that is intellectually dishonest. Thanks a lot for listening to my update today. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notifications. Thanks for your support on X, on Instagram, and for reading my research on JustDario.com. I wish all of you a nice day.